All right, cool. So, welcome everybody. This is the workshop for basics of casting, particularly in Rocket League. A couple things we're going to go over today is camera presence slash on camera. What does that look like? What do you do during that? In game casting, and then sort of preparation and sort of outside things just you do outside of the uh, on day of or on cast time. So, yeah, that's what we're gonna go over. Oh, we're also gonna do some practice rounds, so that's gonna happen. But yeah, so welcome on in, everybody. Um, so yeah, first things first. For those who are going to watch the recording, hi, I'm Zach Tech. I'm a caster here at Oregon State. I also cast for RLCS team streams, namely Astronic Esports in the SSA region and Frost Esports in the APAC region. I do other stuff as well. That's sort of my main claim to fame. But yeah, so we've got Bryce, MJ, and Pebbles here. Hello, everybody. Cool. So first thing we'll cover is just sort of on camera and sort of what does it look like to be a caster exactly. Um, so you don't actually need any fancy cameras or anything. I'm using my phone right now, plugged into my computer. I had a super basic stand that I used to use, which is just this. I have since upgraded to a little tripod that sits on my desk, but you don't need anything fancy, something that just holds your phone and then a cable to connect it, and you're good to go. There is a app that Elgato makes called Epoch Cam that allows you to do this, use your phone as a webcam, and then send it through Discord and everything. Now you want a mic that's pretty decent, but I mean, we'll work on that. This is the basics, so I'm not gonna go into all the fancy mic stuff. Um, any questions so far?
No?
Cool. Feel free to stop at any point to ask questions. Um, cool. So shrimp to the cast. We'll just walk through each step. So typically, when you set up with a producer, that's sort of your main person running backend. They will send you some sort of way to connect to a camera. Usually, that is through Video Ninja, which is just you clicking on a link. It'll open your web browser to a certain page. You give them access to your webcam, and boom, they have your webcam. They can then put into OBS or whatever. Usually, they use Discord to transmit audio. Discord typically more reliable with audio and is higher quality with audio, which is why it's the two different things for video and audio. Now, before broadcast starts, typically you want to know what teams are playing, and roughly what the players' names are on those teams. If you can get that info beforehand, that is awesome. But sometimes you just got to show up, and you don't always know. So that's usually something you try to pick up as soon as possible. You can do that, say in the pregame lobby when everyone is hopping into the lobby and haven't started the game yet. Look at all those names, pick up what those names are. Also, knowing pronunciations of names is very cool, very important. Not super important though. Sometimes you just got to say it, and it just is what it is. I mean, there are all CS casters who still don't agree on how to pronounce different pro names, so it is what it is. Um, so when a stream starts, typically you have two casters. When you have two casters, it's usually a host and a co-host. Now that doesn't really mean a whole lot on most streams versus two, because it just means that one person brings it in, introduces everything, what the league or tournament is, who's playing, and who their co-caster is, which would be you. If you are the host, then you are introducing your co-caster. It typically goes something like, welcome everybody back to the RLCS SSA Regional #1 here in fall. Please describe what the tournament is. Here with Astronic Esports, I am Zektech here with my co-caster Quanzek. Quanzek, how are you doing today? And sort of go into a little bit of a preamble. It can be a bit of a chat. First, you catch up with your caster. How you doing? What are you excited about? Something to get people engaged and intrigued into what is happening. As a caster, your two main jobs are to one, make it entertaining, and two, Make it easy to understand. That basically means that you explain it in terms that most people would be able to understand. You're not using super specific gamer lingo all the time. Now you can, of course, there's tons of names for flicks and all those different things, musty flick that maybe the average person will understand. But don't be afraid to use it. Feel free to throw it in. Um, it's not going to detract from the experience because people will see it in junction with you using the wording, and we'll put two and two together and be like, oh, they did that. That's a musty flick. Cool. Um, so leading into a match, typically you give a rundown of like, this is the teams that are facing off today. So we've got Astronic Esports versus Limitless for match number 1. This is a best of 5. Say what the series length is: best of 5, best of 7, best of 3. And then if they have any history, again, this is something that you can come prepared for. Is if you have any knowledge of the history of the teams, how they played against each other, or the players that are involved, you can talk through it at that point beforehand. Sometimes you have to buy time for the match to start, so that is something you can use to fill that time, that space. Also, asking your co-caster, what do you think how this series is going to go? If you feel like you're running out of stuff, throw it over to your co-caster. Be like, and what do you think? Do you think this is going to go to a full game 5? Is going to be a sweep? And then that'll give them some space and time to talk and fill some space. When the match starts, typically you will have to sort of lead right into it. It won't be a super all right, and now the match is starting. Right? You've seen in like RLCS and whatnot, there's sort of a preamble. It's like, all right, so we got this matchup today. We're your casters, Shogun and Jorby. Super excited about this matchup. They've gone at it toe and toe before, but here we've got 5 minutes on the clock, and we have kickoff, and then on screen the game will start. Now, when you are starting off, if it is say a community broadcast, something that's not super well known outside of like the pro leagues or bubble scene, just calling out the teams like, all right, so in orange we have Astronic Esports. On this team is Just Specs, Snoopy, and Nuke. On the other team we have Limitless, and then you say those players' names. On the blue team, sort of setting the scene for people watching. You're basically making this, you set up the scene, who the players are, what the stakes are, what this match is about, giving the audience, an understanding of what is fully happening here, what's at stake, how this is going to go down. In game, we're moving on to in game. There are 2 typical kinds of casting. But before I do that, actually, I should ask, are there any questions about anything I've said so far about the pre-game stuff?
Got it down.
Awesome. Also, on-screen presence. Typically, when you're talking, you want to look at the camera like this. You're looking someone in the eye. You're connecting with them. Hi, I'm Zektek. Good to have you here. You can, when talking to your caster, look off to the screen or the side. It's sort of like a throwing it to them. But you typically want to look at the camera more often than not. You can look at the screen if you have to for stats or other things, but try to, most of the time bring it back to the camera. Feel like you are engaging the audience and you are here to give them your attention because they're important. They showed up. They're the ones who essentially are making your paycheck possible if you're getting paid or making the stream possible. But yes, pay attention to the audience. As far as dress code goes, I tend to prefer going semi-formal, business casual. I wear polos and button-ups typically. If you need a polo, they're like $5 to $15 at the nearest Goodwill. So I got like half of mine. Oregon State will just throw out extras there, and so I've got a nice bunch of orange and black polos for pretty cheap, and I look nice on stream. Yeah. If you're wearing higher level stuff, more LCS stuff, you might get more button ups, more suit like. But typically, that's more for like on LAN is when you get the full kitted out suit. All right. Now we will hop into game. Hopping into game, there are typically two types of casting. There is color casting and there is play-by-play casting. Those are the 2 main flavors. Play-by-play is as it sounds. You are calling out what is happening on the field play by play. He hits it here. He pinches it there. It hits this person. They try to get a flip reset. It hits the backboard. Pretty simple. One of the easier ones to pick up. Tends to flow a little more easy. Play-by-play is typically a little more snappy, and it's the one where you're calling out exactly what's happening. In the what was it season 8 finals or whatever, season 7, when this is Justin. Typically, leading up to that, it was play-by-play. Off the wall there, off the corner, turbo. It's Justin. Calling out exactly what is happening as it happens on screen. Some of that is explaining sort of what is happening a little bit to the audience of, oh, he went for this, he did that. He tries to pinch it, but it fails. That way, it's not just the car fumbling on screen, and people are like, what just happened there? And you're like, and the ball goes over to the opponents. And like, but why did it go to the opponents? You can explain a little bit of that. Oh, he tried to pinch it, it failed. Now it's in the possession of the other team. Color casting, sort of explaining the higher level just above that of like, um, battle plans, attempts on like overall gameplay styles, stuff like that. Oh, we've seen this player going for these type of plays before. It's happened about 50% of the time. They might want to change it up, but currently the offensive style is working for them. They don't really need a whole lot of defense because the space has been given to them by the opposing team. That is color casting. You were describing sort of a general gameplay sense, how the game as a bigger picture has been going, and sort of describing that. Any questions about that so far?
Oh, good.
Awesome. Now, typically for Rocket League casters, there's a style called hybrid, which, if play-by-play is vanilla and color is chocolate, you got swirl. Both casters will switch back and forth sometimes between it, do a little bit of play-by-play, and then something will lead into some color casting. Like, he goes there, takes up the wall, goes to the flip reset, and off the backboard. And we've seen those flip resets happen again and again. He's had them a lot of the times, about 70% of the time that'll score, but it just didn't work out for him there. You lead from play-by-play into color into play-by-play. That's what we call hybrid casting. Most Rocket League casters are sort of expected to be capable of hybrid, a little bit of both, though some may specialize a little more in color or play-by-play. Most Rocket League casters are expected to have a little bit of knowledge in both. Any questions about that?
What would you say your style is more so?
I would say when I was starting off, I leaned pretty heavily into play-by-play. I have recently tried to lean more into color casting, and as I've done more RLCS gigs, I have more background information to draw upon, as they are a lot of stats and things kept on those teams that then you can talk about. That's color casting typically where we talk about stats on teams, previous matchups, stuff like that in game. If you know, oh, this player was on that team, they did really well against them, whatnot. That's typically color casting. I've tried to lean more into that recently. But I do I go about 50-50. Most people I work with are like, we'll just both hybrid it. We'll throw it back and forth, see how it feels.
Would you say that? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, yeah.
um, would you say that there is like a limit at which doing too much research will stop yielding benefits, or would you say that so long as you have the time to find stuff out about these teams, might as well learn it?
I would say recent results of the team is pretty useful. How they've done in the most recent tourney or whatever, how the team may be feeling coming off of a certain tourney. Matchups against previous teams slash players. So if it's, if they match up against a similar one player on the team, but not the others, or if they've played that team before, knowing how roughly it went the last couple times. Oh, was it a clean sweep? Did it go to game 5? Stuff like that. That's typically the best thing to draw upon. Trying to get down to the nitty gritty of like, oh, this guy got the exact shooting percentage against this team isn't going to come up as much. Typically, it's knowing the bigger overall, how did series go? How have tournaments gone? If there's a recent trade window thing, oh, bringing in this new player. What's this new player's rough game style like? Are they super mechanical? Are they super, rotational, like solid gameplay? Nice sort of that general knowledge and sort of being able to talk through how that affects the rest of the gameplay of the teams is generally beneficial. But trying to dig into like researching like individual replays of teams and whatnot typically doesn't benefit you a whole lot unless you are trying to also maybe coach or like what happened in the series. Why is this one game 20-0 when the rest of the series was all 1-goal games? You know. So yeah, there is a limit to how much you can draw from that previous information.
Sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Hybrid casting, color and play-by-play. Now, in between games, most tournaments will wait out the full minute timer between games, and in that time, that is your time to sort of review the previous game, talk about maybe some more color stuff of how the overall game went, what were some strengths and weaknesses of the different teams, and going into the next game, how might some of these things might be fixed, how might some teams change it up. Those are some good things to talk about. Now, a good note is don't talk about too many things in each in between section. Keep it to one or two things. Like, oh, their offense was really good. We saw good flip resets, mechanical plays that was working really well. Um, the other team kind of struggled with that. Their defense wasn't there. They weren't quite fast enough. You know, that particular interaction, you sort of keep it a little more focused on that. If you try to go, oh, their offense was great. They were very mechanical, but the defense was kind of lacking. They were a bit slow. And in the midfield, they kind of give a lot of space. That's a lot of topics in a 60-second period, and it doesn't give a whole lot of time for it to really sink in and the audience to process it. So in that mid period, try to keep it pretty limited to what you talk about and try to maybe give more details or, talk with your co-caster about it. Like, hey, I saw this, very mechanical on offense. How were you feeling about it? What do you think the other team can do to try to prevent that? Something like that. Now, when you are in game, again, how long should you be talking before you give it to your co-caster? Now, a lot of this depends on your guys' styles. But roughly, you want to be about 15 to 30 seconds per call. That means when you start talking to when you hand it off to your caster, it should only last 15 to 30 seconds. You should be able to talk, if you're play by play, talk about maybe two full plays. It goes downfield, it goes left, it goes right, it's off the backboard, there's a shot attempt, it gets cleared out, they recollect, and I hand it over to my co-caster. Then they talk for 15, 30 seconds, whatever, and then they hand it back. Now, those handoffs, typically you want to make sure that you end your call on something that's very fine. You don't want to leave it open ended because that may confuse your co-caster. Are they still talking? Should I hop in? And you don't want to make it awkward for your co-caster. So make sure that when you're ending your call, you make it nice and clean. So, oh, Garrett took it up the wall, off the ceiling, going for a great shot. It's off the backboard. Turbo Prosa collects, goes around to the midfield, tries to flick it over Justin. Doesn't happen. Over to Squishy. Squishy recollect, takes on the shot down the field, but it will be ricocheted away. The defensive envy just too strong. About 15 to 30 seconds. You sense the end of that call there. Okay, he's done talking. Next person can, co-caster can step in, talk about something else. Any questions about that? Awesome. Okay. Let's see. On-screen presence, in-game preparedness. I think that's everything. Are there any things that I have not covered you guys have questions about? Awesome. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do some practice casts. MJ and Bryce, would you guys like to take the first one?
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of something right now, and while I'm just listening, do you think
Cool.
I could take the second one, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet.
Pebbles, are you going to try to want to do a practice run, or you just want to watch?
Uh, to be honest, I joined this call because I was looking to find a game. But when it comes, yeah, I'll give it a go. Like I've actually kind of enjoyed what I've listened to, so yeah, I'll give it a go.
Cool. You want to take the first one with Bryce?
Sure.
Awesome. Now typically most casts you just use your in-game name, so it'd be Skids and Pebbles. The only one time I've used actual names is on collegiate broadcasts, for like CRL stuff. So I would say maybe just go stick with Skids and Pebbles, but whatever you guys feel like.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pull up the gameplay and a replay file, and I will leave it on director cam, and you guys can just follow along. Let's do it with my recent one, Winter Oh, they haven't had any replays yet. Bogus. All right. Fall. Why are there no? Oh, wait, that's why. Hold on. Sorry. Winter. Regional 1. Let's go with North America. Main event. Playoffs. Wow, there's so many subgroups. Okay. Let's look at semifinals. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, complexity versus dig. All right. Here we go. All right. So I will give you guys, about a minute, 30 seconds to a minute to just introduce it. Talk. This is the RLCS NA Winter Regional number 1. This is the semifinals. Complexity versus Dignitas. I will give you a countdown for when I'm going to start the replay. After each goal, I'm going to pause it for about 8 seconds to essentially simulate a goal replay. And then I will resume it again for kickoff. Sound good?
One second. Can you say it was the Winter Regional number 1 semifinals?
Yes.
And it was complexity versus I'm so sorry.
Dignitas.
Okay. Thank you. Peb, would you like to be the host or the co-caster?
I mean, I can start us off, I suppose.
Run it.
I will also, during each replay, show you the scoreboard. That way you guys can look at stats. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
And you said you were gonna pause it. What was that about again?
So replays don't show. Replays don't show goal replays when they score.
Okay,
So I'm going to
gotcha.
pause it so you guys have time to talk about that goal,
Gotcha.
like as if there were a goal replay happening.
All
All
right,
right.
I'm ready.
All right.
Good to go.
And kick it off whenever you're ready.
All right, we have begun here. Complexity versus Dig, not a matchup a lot of people would probably assume would be in the semifinals. I mean, Complexity, they've been looking really good in the previous matches and in the closed qualifiers, and they have really been putting the grind on, especially Raise Bowl. He's really been putting in quite a lot of work, and you could argue he's even the star player on the team now, which I would say not a lot of people would have said when Complexity first burst into the scene, scoring all of those wins in the South American regionals. And now they are up against Dig, again, another team that hasn't really tasted a lot of victory in NA, and it's going to be really interesting to see who's going to come out on top here, eh, Skids?
Yeah. Thank you, Pebbles. I'm stoked to see this matchup. This complexity team coming up from South America not too long ago. Still trying to make a name for themselves. They've done well to compete at the higher levels, but this is another opportunity for them to prove that they deserve a spot here in this competitive region.
Three,
And
two,
Dignitas, an org
one.
that recently moved over from Europe, getting ready to try and make a name for themselves over here on this NA soil.
Kickoff is going the way of Dig right off the go. We have Evo almost scoring there. And here comes Raise Bowl back. Nice clear, nice defense there from Dig. AJG straight at net, not going to get past the Dig defense. And here comes Raise Bowl once more, showing off that mechanical prowess.
Yeah, Jari's trying to take the ball out of the corner. AJG there, quick to shut it down. Andy with another 50, trying to get it out of the corner, is able to take it past 2 players now into the Dignitas corner. Sorry, the Complexity corner. Raise Bull taking that out over 1, gets it toward the goal. Andy with the safe clear to the side for Evo, who is now taking it down towards the Complexity field.
And how good has Evo been? He has just been completely a revelation for this Dig team, I'd say. Going from struggling to hit top 8 all the way to the quarterfinals with their first regional, you got to say a lot of that has to be credited to Evo, but also to the other players really stepping it up over the past few months as well.
Yeah, we do have some names in here that have been in this this upper echelon of play for quite a while now. Andy playing the ball into the corner. Gets the redirect back over to Evo, who's trying to pre-jump that pass. Maybe a little miscommunication there. 50 from CRR sees the ball staying within the complexity reach. Raise Bull now, trying to get something toward the middle, get a shot off. AJG with a solid 50. Andy's going to be missing the ball after that hit. Raise Bull trying to fake him around in the corner, gets the ball over one. Dree's there to shut it down.
Yeah, you got to say Dig's defense has really been holding up this tournament, but you got to wonder if they're going to be able to translate that onto offense in this series. Complexity, known as a very offensive team. Oh, Dree's almost proving me wrong there with their offense. But it's looking like Complexity has had most of the pressure this match so far.
Evo playing the ball around CRR, trying to get it to the middle, quickly shut down by Raise Bull. 2 players up in the air. Looks like the Dignitas player will beat him there. CRR taking it out to the corner, cuts it around 1 toward midfield, tries to play it over Evo, but he's up there quick to shut it down. Evo is one of those players that, like I said earlier, has been around in this high level of Rocket League for quite some time. You know, if you've been following 1v1s, you know, you've seen him in show matches for years and years, just never quite able to really break through and get one of those milestone achievements like an RLCS regional, but this is a good start. Dignitas leading the game about halfway through.
Yeah, very solid play from Evo. Not anything too fancy like you'd expect to see from him in terms of mechanics, but a very solid ground dribble. Those are always going to go in if you've got that kind of control.
Yeah, fantastic to see this Dignitas team put the first goal on the board. Now, the 50 off the kickoff going towards the Dignitas half. Raise Bull there to try to get it to AJG with a shot. Quick shut down by Evo. Plays it off to the corner. Still, pressure hasn't left. Dree's up in the air. And now Raise Bull will take it towards the Dignitas goal for an easy Evo clear.
Yeah, Dignitas has really turned around the pressure in terms of this game specifically. Complexity had a lot of the. Oh, and look at that. That is unfortunate. It looks like there was just a slight bump on the defender there that just made it so AJG could really sneak that last little shot through.
Yeah, fantastic control from Complexity right there. Just playing the slow game. You know, they understand, hey, if we're not going to be able to fire this ball into the corner, might as well play it slow, try and play the other team versus just playing the ball.
Yeah, you have to wonder if the pressure might be getting to Dig a little bit here. Oh, especially look at that sort of touch. I mean, it worked, but you have to wonder if that was exactly planned or if they couldn't have set something up a little earlier if they were feeling a little less nervous.
Yeah, with this aerial play, Dignitas has seemed to be the faster of the two teams, but now HAG trying to prove me wrong. Complexity with a fantastic shot, bottom right corner. What a passing play. AJG up in the corner, snipes Raise Bull down towards the middle, and Raise Bull is able to put a fantastic shot on net that Dignitas can't save.
Bull really proven once again that he has that mechanical consistency. The grind is really paying off for him. I mean, the pros keep talking about it. They say that he is just online in twos, working constantly on his play, and you can really tell. There it is again, another shining example of it.
Just after I say that Dignitas is looking as the better of the two teams in the air, Complexity is just out here writhing to prove me wrong. Raise Bull with a nice little air dribble over 1, able to put them up by 2 goals with a minute and a half left in game 1. Dignitas is going to need an answer here.
And of course, you can't say Bull is doing all of this on his own. He's had some fantastic enablers in AGG and CRR. They have been passing the ball to him, getting bumps, and doing all of the dirty work so that he can keep showing off.
Evo now with the clear. Raise Bull playing it straight back into the Dignitas corner. Andy trying to collect is their challenge. But now, Dignitas getting the ball out toward the middle of the field. CRR there. Now, Drees is up on the pre-jump, gets one touch to the ceiling, tries to get another, is quickly shut down by Raise Bull. And now Raise Bull and Evo both going for the same ball. Evo faking, goes for the flip reset to the ground pinch, but quickly turned away.
Andy with a solid 50. Here comes Evo, another solid 50. And you have to wonder if that's Dig's game plan here is just going for high-flying aerial plays, but also consistent challenges in the midfield to keep the ball from getting towards their net.
Yeah, great clear by Andy there. Now leaves Drees with a run to the ball, trying to beat those complexity players. Plays it down off the ceiling to Andy with a quick shot. Defended well by Complexity, who now is attempting a very similar counterattack. Gets it past two.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
nobody there for the open net. And I
Yeah.
mean, but with the my apologies, with this scoreline so far, is Complexity so worried about missing that one goal opportunity?
I would argue definitely not. They definitely have the advantage here, and it's up to Dig to really put the pressure on right now. 15 seconds left, and they're really going to have to pull something magic out of the hat here.
10 seconds ago, AJG looking for a fourth goal. Raise Bull. After AJG abandons the air dribble, immediately looks for the bump, and Raise Bull there trying to get the follow. Dignitas is able to keep it to a 2-goal differential, but you got to wonder how that's affecting their mental for the rest of the series.
And we're out.
Yeah, that was great.
All right. Good job, Skids. You good.
Good job, Pebbles.
Yeah, that was really well done. So, really like that a lot. There's some really good handoffs there. There was that one spot, Bryce got a little awkward. I know you felt that there. A little trip over the words. Now, of course, we all have those things, public speaking where the ums, the ahs that typically we try to work to cut out. But I'm not going to harp on that because that's just, you work on that when you public speak. Yeah, that sounded really good. I think my only note for now was just Pebbles, at the beginning when you introduce them, maybe introduce Skids a little bit earlier, because you don't always
Okay.
have that amount of time. So you want to try to make sure you're like, hey, this is Skids with me. That
Right.
way, you make sure that you're both there, you're both on the same page, and then you can launch into your explanations and your analysis of the teams. Other than that, though, I really liked what you guys did. That was really well done.
Cool.
All right.
Heck yeah.
MJ, are you ready for round number 2?
Yeah. I'm willing to give it a shot. The bar is set kind of high, but I still want to give it a go, you know?
Yeah. No worries. Let's see here. Do you have a series that you would like to cast?
Not really. I mean, you can go ahead and pick one. Maybe from the Winter Open, if you're
Yeah.
good with that.
Let's look at the let's see here. So we've got quarterfinals. We've got Complexity versus M80, Furia versus Gen G, G2 versus NRG, and SHG versus Dig.
Well, let's go with the SSG first dig game. I think that was a good one.
All right.
Looks like it's the closest scoreline between the 4 games as well.
Yes. Why is there? All right. Best of 7s. I almost forgot. Let's see. Let's go with game 3. All right. Would you like to act as host, or would you like me to act as host?
Whatever. It's up to you. You pick.
I can act as host.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. SSG versus Dig. All right. Cool. And we will get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RLCS Winter Open. We have the quarterfinals, SSG versus Dignitas. I am one of your casters, Zektek. With me is PB Joel. How are you doing today, PB Joel?
I'm doing well, Zektek. It's nice to be here finally watching this quarterfinal or semifinals. No, sorry, quarterfinals, excuse me. Match between Space Station and Dignitas. Of course, 2 very strong teams going into this bracket here, but I'm looking forward to see how this match goes.
So very excited. Of course, we know SSG making it to these playoffs quite often, but Dignitas, I think this is one of their first playoff showings of this season. So very excited to see what they're showing up with here. We have a Cinderella story. So let's see if they can continue it, take down what it could be considered a titan of the scene, SSG, or will they get sent back home by Daniel and friends? Here we go. Game number 3 here. 5 minutes on the clock, and we have kickoff. Andy starting us off strong. It will be taken away by LJ. Hoping to go something off the sidewall. Sent downfield. And Arsenal looking for the net and immediately finds that top left corner.
Incredible. Such a quick goal for SSG there. I'm glad they'll definitely be happy about that one. A nice team play between LJ and Arsenal there. LJ fitting in perfectly well with his new teammates.
Yeah, there were questions about LJ showing up here with his team, being very mechanical, but not having that much, experience here on the big stage. But now, I believe he has made it to a LAN. He has made it now here to the Winter Open quarterfinals, and he is showing up for his team here, helping score that very first goal as Arsenal here off his own back wall takes it down. If looking to get over Evo, he does, but Dries is there to support Evo. Going to go off the ceiling past LJ, but LJ says no, keeps it on the orange half of the field, and Daniel is going to harass Evo, but Evo taking up over top. So leave it Arsenal. LJ, the connection here with these two, will almost score another goal, but just not quite as it bounces off to the sidewall.
We've seen a lot of back and forth here so far in the match. A lot of different passing plays between SSG team members and a lot of counterattacks by Dignitas themselves. So it should be a very exciting rest of this match with just over 4 minutes left on this timer. As you can see, the ball is just bouncing off and around all the walls of the field so far. Just looking to see something connect between the teammates.
Yeah, a lot of big boomers happening here. Both teams wanting to find some good space, not necessarily hoping to dribble, as they both know the mechanical ability of both. The outplay ability of some of these guys on the ground is so great. So they're looking for some of that aerial control. And I'm just sort of loving these aerial connections happening from LJ to Daniel. Beautiful passing play and redirect. That was gorgeous.
Absolutely perfect timing. That was a beautiful pass up to Daniel, who got a little bit ahead. Almost a little bit of miscommunication there going up for that aerial, but he was able to recover and bring it upfield for a nice redirect into the goal, just over the Dignitas goalie.
Dignitas now down 2, but plenty of time left for 3.5 minutes to go. Now, they have been struggling a little bit here on the defense. The passing connections by SSG have been a little too strong. We're something off the backboard, and that could have been dangerous. Now it's up to LJ. Andy's going to put it downfield. Evo here to receive Arsenal off to the sidewall. Great job blocking this out. And SSG has been great to get this ball out of their half very quickly. Over something off the backboard there, but it will be cleared away. LJ with a massive pinch out to the midfield. And it's up to Arsenal to take a shot, but Evo is there to take a good block downfield towards the net, but it's Daniel to clear away.
Yeah, again, we're still seeing a lot of that back and forth between these two teams. A lot of big, powerful shots coming from all the people in the field. Just like that, another one from Andy right there, getting a little bit ahead of some of the SSG members, but SSG quick to respond. Arsenal up for another block there, and LJ to respond. And then, right as I say that, another quick goal in for Dignitas. They better be happy about that one. Just shortening the lead just a little bit. Evo with a nice slot in there over some of the SSG cars. And yeah, Dignitas is looking to turn this game around.
That was a beautiful slot by Evo, just finding the just right part. Of course, the defense did get a touch on it, but it was not enough to shy it away. And now, only a 1-goal difference. Dignitas, they have the shooting power here. They can bring it back easily within this next 2+ minutes. Now downfield, Evo looking for Andy in the midfield. Off the crossbar! So close, and Daniel to clear it away. And Dignitas is threatening the equalizing goal.
Another high pass over Arsenal off the backboard there. LJ up for another quick aerial, looking to bring it downfield for his team. Dries with another aerial up there, trying to bring it over. Evo with another small shot, but not able to put it in net. A lot of pressure here coming from Dignitas, but they're not finding anything to connect so far, and Evo just barely putting it in over Arsenal right there at the very end. Dignitas tying it up just under half of the game completed so far, with 2:16 left on the clock.
And I'm loving these connections by Dignitas off the backboard and the sidewall, keeping it on the SSG end of the field, just out of the control and touch of the SSG players, finding them confused, getting them caught on the goal line, flat-footed, and Evo again putting it home for the equalizing goal. Only 2:16 left, and SSG gonna have to bring it around here, or otherwise Dignitas may just take over this back half of the game.
We are seeing SSG's defense starting to falter a little bit. They didn't have a lot of opportunities for defending in the first half of this match, but now that Dignitas is starting to turn their possession around, SSG is failing a little bit in the defense department. But they're still keeping the pressure high on the offensive side when they have possession, and LJ looking for another pass there. I'm loving these connections between their teammates on the SSG side. Dignitas has their own passes, but they're not quite as successful so far. We haven't seen as many passing plays from them.
Now the control coming out of Dries. Beautiful little air dribble there. Not quite on target, but Evo quickly following up, slamming himself against the ball there. Now it's Daniel looking to dribble down past all three players, but Dries bringing it around to the control. to get past Daniel, but can't bring it past. And now LJ slamming it through the defense, but Evo able to collect over to Andy. It's the shot. There it is. Dignitas takes the lead.
I was just talking about how SSG's defense was starting to falter a little bit, and we saw that Arsenal got left back as last man in a 2v1 situation, and he just got flicked over there, and it's unfortunate that there was no one else back to defend that last shot. So Dignitas is starting to take over a little bit here. They're up 1, and there's only a minute 34 left. We got to see what Dignitas can do in this last bit of the game here.
Again, we saw Dig. They looked a little shaky at the beginning of this game, a little nervous, but now looks like they're feeling confident. They've got these great goals, the slots coming in. Evo showing up for his team. He was one of the question marks here, as we have seen Andy and Dries, show up here on the RLCS stage before. Evo is the newcomer here to this quarterfinals, but he is really showing up here, showing that he was the best pickup that Dignitas could have made. And now the demo's coming in, and the equalizer for LJ. That was beautiful.
We've seen a lot of impressive plays from LJ so far in this match, and I wanted to just mention that LJ and Daniel are two of the youngest players on the scene. LJ's been fitting in pretty well in his first team in the league, but Daniel too has been improving a lot recently. We've had a lot of these young players enter the scene, and some that are coming up that are going to make some appearances soon, I'm hoping. And it should be interesting to see how these young players continue to perform in this scene.
Really show up mechanically, but who can lock down on that defensive end, show that they know how to place themselves in the right spot to make sure that there are no more shots coming in, that they can shut down the offensive plays, they can make them happen, but do they know how to prevent it? And there we go. I think that was Daniel again, putting one home, outplaying that defense, catching him on their back foot.
Another strong connection there for SSG. They're really picking up those passing plays. LJ and Daniel really taking over on that offensive side, and Arsenal's still participating, but he's there. He's just 1 goal and 0 assists to LJ's 3 assists. So LJ has participated in every play so far. So he's really showing how much of a dominant force he can be and how much SSG are taking over this game. They're looking to make a little bit of a comeback, and they have so far. They're only 1 goal up with just under a minute left, but we got to see how much more Space Station can do with this last 57 seconds.
Look at that stat line. Evo showing up with the shots, the saves, and the goals. Now it's up to Andy and Dries to really pick up some of this slack here. They've been helping out with some of these assists and a goal. I think Dries now, I think his shooting accuracy has been a little bit off. If he can really pull it together, get some great shots on net, he will put it home. But Evo making sure that he is the one to show up and say, hey, Andy, yo, Dries, I got this. I'll put it home for you. We're going to equalize here.
Evo's looking to make quite the name for himself. He's just putting in those shots. He's got some nice placement there. All of his shots so far have been very pretty, very perfectly placed into the corners of the bottom of the net. Just able to sneak past those defenders. All right, and now it's all tied up. 4-4, 43 seconds left in the match. We'll see how the rest of this goes. Dignitas looking to pull away a little bit here, looking to take away this first game of the series so far. And now we've got a kickoff on our hands.
We still get that shooting percentage. Evo 3 for 5 there, only outmatched by Daniel, who is 2 for 2. So some beautiful job here. The flip reset just not quite coming through as Arsenal takes that one away. A demo to clear some space here. Another one, and it looks like that is the way that they want to get through this defensive end. They want to make sure that they can just blow away that defense, open it up, make it nice and easy for those mechanics to pull on through, beat that last man. And Andy, though, here, having to bring out of his back half, hands it off to Dries, who's going to pinch it off the sidewall, maintains control. Andy there to help support, 2 on net, but they will get in front and prevent the shot.
Evo's looking to take it middle for his teammate, but SSG is there to stop them. Andy's up for another aerial, looking to get a second touch here and bring it over SSG, but he misses the flip reset. Evo joined in for the pass, but Arsenal's able to take it over him. LJ's there to pop it up, but it heads into overtime.
Overtime here in Game 3. It has been an even scoreline, and these teams pushing up. They are here to play. Equal opportunity. And it looks like it's up to Dries now to take it up the side while he's got space to work with. But he does mess up that touch. Maybe just feeling too awkward. Stuck on that boost there. And it's up to Dan to make something happen. But it looks like it's Dries again to get back into the play. Have some control here. Can he shake off those nerves? We'll have to find out here in overtime. Otherwise, it might just be an end of the goal right there. But no, the game continues.
We're still seeing a lot of pressure here from Dignitas as they're trying to put this last goal in overtime. SSG is doing a little bit better with their defense now, and they're still making those strong connections, trying to get back on the offense. But Dignitas has some good responses so far. Arsenal takes it up with the air dribble over the net, and almost gets it in over Andy, and LJ is there for the finish. That finishes off this first game of the series. 5-4 in favor of SSG. Just over 45 seconds of overtime in between these two teams, and what a match that was! So much back and forth.
So much back and forth, but I think we saw the downfall of Dig right there. The nervousness that SSG was able to strike into the fear of their hearts. And that last goal there, we saw the double commit was what opened it up. That nervousness that, no, not quite sure if their team's going to get it. LJ puts it home, and SSG will capitalize here in game 3. That was really good. I really like that, MJ.
W.
How did you feel about that?
Felt okay about it. I think the one part where I struggled, where I had the awkward pause, is like recognizing the cars by their designs. I think on like the actual when you're spectating, it'll show which car you're spectating, so it's
Yeah,
a little
no,
bit of a
that is
disadvantage there.
difficult when doing a replay. So yeah, I don't
Yeah,
fault you for that at
that's just
all.
that one thing. Otherwise, I felt like it was actually pretty decent. I still feel like my understanding of the game could use a lot of improvement, so my like color commentating is not the best that it could be, but we take what we
Uh,
can get.
I think it sounded great. I felt like you really had a good grasp on what was happening in the game. And I mean, ultimately, you don't have to have this super deep, like SSL level understanding of the game to just sort of provide a general commentary to the audience. It's to give the audience, sort of maybe the layman's terms or the layman's view on what's happening here, sort of a middleman explanation. So I think that was great. I think you did a great job on that. As you get more comfortable, you can get a little more into it and whatnot. I know I was feeling more of the hype stuff, taking some of those goals, but yeah, I think that sounded great. Very clear talking. Um, you guys have any notes at all about how that felt for you guys?
I think like MJ did pretty well, honestly. Uh, I think just like uh, his tone sometimes stays the same. Usually, whenever the moment gets hype, like I think he could do better, but honestly, he did pretty well.
It built up throughout the game. That's one of the things
Yeah,
I noticed. MJ's confidence, like
yeah,
once he got settled in and started to be confident, you could start to hear the fluctuation in his tone, and yeah, that just makes for more engaging commentary, and started to pick up on it. And he's getting
Heck yeah.
W.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that was
Honestly,
great. You picked that
good to
up
go.
real quick. The confidence, I felt you really settle into that. And that was great. I know when I was starting, I was so awkward for so many series. So yeah, that was great. That sounded amazing. Does someone else have anything to say?
Mm, nope.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I think that is all I have. Are there any questions for me about casting? Anything at all about any of this?
So if people are looking to get into casting and are looking for more opportunities to try it out, other than commentating replays, how would you suggest somebody starts to look for places to cast?
Yeah, so there are a lot of leagues that are sort of more like champ leagues, GC leagues, that maybe can't do major productions, but are always looking for volunteers. You can volunteer there. They're always looking for people to come in. You don't need a lot of experience to do that. There is a Discord server called broadcast.gg. They have channels where people post jobs all the time, high level paid, entry level paid, and volunteer. Volunteer happens quite a bit. People are like, hey, we're running scrims where we have a league game. We like somebody to just stream our game and cast over this best of 5. And that's a great way to just sort of get in, super low stakes, no pressure, get some practice there. And then as you really build up your practice and you feel more confident, if you want to try to get more paid work, get more into that higher echelon, getting clips of your work is good. Put together sort of a reel to show off your best moments, and then you can start trying to ask for applying to those. It's less of an application. It's more of like, hey, someone posts, we're doing this, 2 best of 5s this night, $15 for the night. Typically, they ask you to DM the person and send them your reel. And then depending on your reel, they'll say, "Hey, we like how you sound and how your style of casting during the server or whatever. We'll do it. You're on the desk. We'll pay you." Yeah, as far as just picking it up, there are tons of volunteer opportunities. I will drop the link to broadcast.gg and the thing here. Let's see here. Let's see. Invites. And I'm going to drop that in general. So broadcast.gg. They have tons of stuff there. Also, if you just find leagues, whatever league of Decker is, then I'm sure has free stuff. There is Paradise Esports. The Premier Championship Series, I think, has casting opportunities. Let's see here. What's some other ones? United Rogue is a good one. The Blackline Championship Series. Yeah, this is some off the top of my head I can see here. They all sort of run unpaid productions, and so you can find opportunities there to either for the league itself to do some of their mainline broadcast, or sometimes just teams will just be like, "Hey, we just like someone to, stream our match, commentate over it," and so you can contact a team like, "Hey, I'm looking for opportunities. Would you like me to do that for you?" And most teams are like, I mean, it doesn't hurt them at all. It doesn't cost them anything. So like, yeah, sure, why not? So I think those are all great ways to get experience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is it fine like the first time I cast like I can mimic someone like and then I get into my own style afterward?
Yeah, no, I think that is a great way to do it is to watch like RLCS or different streams and whatnot and listen to the casters a lot. How do they talk? How do they, provide information? Modeling your style after someone is a great way to start. Of course, you want to develop your own style as you grow and whatnot. But starting by doing something similar to another caster is a totally acceptable way to do it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I have another question too. You mentioned making a reel. You mean like a demo reel, right? For like casting and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, like where do you think we should get the clips for that? Just like as we get more experience and like go through and actually cast real games. Should we include like highlights or just like a full game so they can get like a range of casting like ability?
Typically you just do highlights. If you have a call that you feel went really well or a good hype moment, what I do is I go back to Twitch VODs and I use different resources to download those. And then I find the clip and I pull it out. So it's just a video file and then I throw it in. I'll post the link to my personal reel. Why am I? Oh, I'm in streamer mode. That's why. Haha. Anyway, if you click on my profile, you see my caster reel link there, his YouTube link. If you look at that, you'll see that it's just 15-second long snippets of a single call, basically, color or play-by-play. A good reel combines a good combination of each. A good play-by-play call, a good color call, maybe a good hybrid call, including what we call a desk segment is good. A point where you are just talking to the camera with your co-caster, like, "Hey, we're describing this or we're introducing this." If you like an introduction that went really well, like you sounded super, you sound like you were really on top of it, really confident and whatnot. That's always good to put in there. Sort of like, oh, they're good on camera. They're good about explaining, our brand. Tournaments are often like, oh, they're explaining our brands. If we have a sponsor read, they're good at, talking about our sponsor and being like, hey, this tournament is sponsored by Trolley. Huge thanks to Trolley. Go check them out. Something like that. Like, oh, okay, they can do an ad read. That's awesome. So those are good things to include in a reel. Cool. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, if everyone feels good about that, I think we will end that there. I'm going to end the recording. Last chance for any questions.
W Workshop. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Good work, Chuck.
Yeah. Thank you all for showing up.
Woo!